Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 23rd edition of Cinema Effect. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by, I promise it's not his birthday today, Jaden.
Nah, please don't dox me like that, mate.
I promised it wasn't. And PTA's number one fanboy, aka Fitzy, aka Liam.
Hey.
This is Cinema Effect. That was an abrupt transition, I apologise. I feel like I could have done something more natural there, but anyway, whatever. This is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single week. The show posts every Monday. You can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And I recently applied to try and get us on Amazon Music because apparently they're launching a podcast thing. So you can get excited for Cinema Effect, mega famous international podcast joining the launch lineup of Amazon Music. Get hyped. It's going to bring in so many new numbers. So listen to the show, subscribe and all those things, leave us a rating as always, follow the Instagram page, otherwise Fitzy will cry at night, and remember to submit your questions, comments, reviews for next week's film in the YouTube comments section. We read all that stuff at the end of the show. We've got our specific question of next week's show. We'll be reading your answers to that at the end of next week. And the question we're throwing at this week, next week, this week. I'm trying to make it not sound confusing, but I really failed. It's really confusing.
Every time you try, it just ends up worse.
It does. It really does, yeah. Yeah, I should try and simplify it, whatever. Put your answer to this question in the comments is all you need to know, okay? What is the worst CGI in a modern big-budget film that you've seen? Now, the premise of the question that Jaden presented, we don't want to, we're not talking about 80s movies here. We're not talking about shitting on CG from 800 years ago, okay? But we also don't want to be too strict, so just let's talk about in the last 10 to 15 years or so. Let's go with that. We're not being too strict with it, but modern, big-budget film, worst CG you've seen, let us know. There could be some fun answers to that, I think. This week we're talking about Hunger, and data dump. Let's get into it. I'll introduce the context to those of you who haven't seen it. Hunger opened at the Cannes Film Festival in 2008 on the 15th of May. The film was directed by Steve McQueen. It was written by Steve McQueen and Enda Walsh. The film was edited by Joe Walker, and he has gone on to become a Denis Villeneuve collaborator, editing all his films. As far as I could tell, this was like his first kind of notable project, so good for him. This film led him to go on to edit such works as Blade Runner 2049, so good for him. The film stars Michael Fassbender, Brian Milligan, Liam McMahon, and Liam Cunningham I'll throw in there too. Its genre is a biography drama. It has a runtime of 1 hour and 36 minutes, and the synopsis is Irish Republican Robbie Sands leads the inmates of a Northern Irish prison in a hunger strike. Which, that really only kind of happens right at the end of the movie, and we only really see it from his perspective, but I guess it's accurate. I guess that did happen. How did we feel about Hunger? Fitzy, as Steve McQueen's number one fanboy, which I could change the intro to, but I won't. What was your reaction to the movie?
Yeah, it was really, really great. Really brutal. Like I was wondering if I could even watch this again in a while, just because of there's a lot of scenes that are hard to watch in it. But I mean, it kind of needs to be that way given the context. But yeah, it's really visually unique and just really well told and stuff like that. So yeah.
How about you, Jaden?
Yeah, pretty similar to what Fitzy said. It's uncompromisingly, just fierce and in your face and doesn't pull punches.
No.
And it's I don't know, like it's like quite often I think you can criticize the film for being too self-indulgent in that kind of thing, but no, I think it worked really well, and I think just the overall product that they achieved is top notch.
I'm with you. I'm with both of you. It was great, dude. I assume we're all, talking about the same thing of just the ending and everything. I guess it was like the last 15, 20 minutes, whatever it was, and boy, they pulled no punches. Holy shit. That is some of the hardest stuff I've ever had to look at in a movie, and yeah, uncompromising, all those synonyms for that word. totally apply. The movie had a bit of a slow start for me, I must say. It just took me a while to kind of get right into it, I think. But from when, I guess I would say from when Michael Fassbender appears on screen, and like the moment when they shave him, when he's like taken out of his cell and they shave him, that was crazy because I didn't even realize it was him until they until they
Yeah,
took his hair off, and I was
same.
like, holy shit, there he is. And then from that moment onwards, I was just I was totally enthralled by the movie. But no, I thought it was great overall as well. Did you guys realize it was him though?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know it was him till they shaved it. I was like, oh, that's him.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, like but even, for me, like even the earlier scenes are like hard to watch because they got all the shit on the wall and stuff as early
yeah.
protests,
It
and that was just like disturbing as well.
dude, when he first walked into the cell, all I could think about was from Trainspotting, the worst toilet in Scotland. Like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what it looked like.
Yeah. That's
I don't know what that is.
Haven't you seen Trainspotting?
No,
No.
no. What do you mean? The worst toilet in Scotland?
It's basically just like this one cubicle in like this dodgy ass bar, and it's just the walls are covered in shit. So yeah,
Oh,
I mean it
Jesus.
looks exactly like that. Yeah, yeah. So
I can use my ignorance right now as an excuse to also provide people who haven't seen the movie with a bit of context of the opening, which was the part I found slow a little bit. So the cells are covered in their shit, which is horrifying. Like I almost kind of didn't really comprehend that at first. I was just like, did they smush
yeah,
food all over the wall or something? Like I was just kind of, that was a concept I've never seen, like shit on the wall like that, and that was kind of crazy for me. But I was a bit confused by, like, I don't understand the intricacies of like prison life and shit, like what they were doing. Like they were wrapping the shit into little wrappers or something and then eating it. Like what was that about? Do you guys know? I don't really.
that was different.
Those two prisoners, what they.
That what he was wrapping in there was a note to smuggle out, but this shit was just being smeared on the wall.
Oh, and so the note would have been requesting the radio, I guess.
yeah, maybe or
Radio
Okay.
or status on the inside or whatever. Sorry if it's
Yeah.
yeah, because I think there's like communication between like the IRA and them as well in there,
Right.
because like
Yes.
later in the movie you see that the I don't know what they call it, like the higher ups or whatever are telling them to stop so they can like negotiate or whatever, and yeah, so they're like trying to send messages through like whatever means they can, I guess.
Yeah. The movie does such a great job of, um, specifically with obviously Bobby in the end with his condition, but also just the harshness of the prison lifestyle and I can't get over the shit on the wall. And when they were pouring out the liquid onto the ground, was that like their what was that? Was that like their diarrhea or some shit that they were pouring out?
yeah.
Or was that just water?
It's
Like
just like piss and
it was their diarrhea,
phlegm.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus, yeah, that was foul. Yeah, the movie does such a great job with confronting the audience with all that terrible shit. Um, and the opening 20 minutes, there's just I had subtitles on because I learnt my lesson from last week, and it just has no dialogue whatsoever. Which did find I found it a little hard to get into these first two characters, and as a result. But in retrospect, I totally get it, and I think it works for what it's going for.
Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of dialogue, but then when you get to the conversation scene, it's all dialogue. You guys watch it on Stan, right?
Yeah.
I think I know what you're about to say. Yes.
Well, because it was a bit like low quality, so
Oh, the audio.
no, just the picture for me.
Oh.
So I
Yeah.
I rented it on YouTube and saw it mainly through there, but like when I got to the conversation scene, the YouTube didn't have captions, so I was like, I need to switch to Stan to understand what
Oh
they were saying there.
no.
Opera,
Yes,
and then I
absolutely.
switched back. So, what
Did
did you
you?
guys watch on Stan?
Yeah. Did you watch it on Stan? Jaden? I did.
Yeah. Maybe I just paid that much attention. I mean, like my eye's not too keen on those details, but like my image was fine. But like at times it felt like my audio was like I don't know really how to describe it. Kind of sounds like Fitzy when he goes distant on his mic. That's what it felt like the thing was doing. Yeah.
I mean, I'm down to compare while we're doing it. Did either of you on your my stand file was messed up clearly because the video was like there was the screen was like artifacting and there was weird glitches, like actual like I'm not even just talking about like video quality, Jane. Like my screen was actually
Oh,
often
really?
like flashing and shit, like little bits and pieces. So I figured that was a problem with the stand file. But
Oh
did
yeah,
you guys have
that
that?
that didn't happen to me. No.
Weird. Okay. Huh.
Mm, no,
I guess not
I
then.
just noticed the quality difference in the like opening, like film for titles and stuff like that. Like the letters are
Mm,
blurry.
right.
Yeah.
Do we take back our stand sponsorship?
No.
Well,
I had
no,
a
I
fine.
don't think
You
so.
guys can, drop your pursuit, whatever. I'm still getting sponsored by them, right?
Yeah, yeah. And there's no way you're getting sponsored without me. So I guess you're right. Yeah.
No.
Well, we're all in. Um, yeah, I don't. It just looks so, so great, and I didn't want, I didn't want to watch this film, like medium quality or whatever. But
Mm.
yeah,
I mean, one of the things that had the longest lasting effect on me, like still now, is that scene of just the prison guard just cleaning up that hallway, and it's just like what, like 4 or 5 minutes of him just like you know just sweeping the hallway, and like it's just, I don't know why, but like that, like, because at first I was like, yeah, it's kind of boring, but like as the scene kept on going, I was like, damn, this is actually like really sick, like not sick, but like like it works brilliantly,
yeah. I just thought now, like, is that kind of like because of the rhythm that he goes into? It's like, how people say in The Shining when um Danny is going along with the bicycle and you can hear like the bomb bomb and the bomb bomb, like the rhythm
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
That's kind of like entrancing to look at or hear for some reason. And
yeah,
then like when he did that, it was like with the broom or whatever
yeah,
and the
yeah. No,
water.
for sure. It probably is that. Yeah, I just think like the effect that had on me is like really interesting looking back. Just like the way that you slowly grow more engrossed.
Damn. I don't want to start negative at all because I thought the movie was great, but that was one of the only scenes in the movie where it did lean into the self indulgent side a little bit for me, where I was just like, okay, it didn't work for me 100%. I was kind of like, this feels a bit much. I'm a bit
Right.
bored right now. But
Yeah.
I don't want to linger on that at all because I think pretty much everything else I don't feel that way about at all.
Yeah, I can see why that shot would be boring though.
Well, you brought up the scene, of course, the dialogue exchange between Dom and Bobby, and I mean, like, you can't just bring it up and we can't move on. This whole review is going to be stilted until we just bring it up because holy shit, that was, and yeah, I totally get you having to go back to stand for it, Fitzy, because God knows I would be lost without subtitles on it too. But um, though it's one of the best scenes I think I've ever seen in a movie. It's perfect, and I could not believe that it lasted 17 minutes and it just kept going and it kept going and I was enthralled by every second of it and it was crazy to me. Like I legitimately, I think I paused at maybe 4 minutes into it or something, and I thought to myself, Jesus, this scene's going for ages. I hadn't seen anything yet, and to make it clear, sorry, because we all of course know what we're talking about here, but what I'm talking about is a one take scene, a one single shot scene of a conversation between Michael Fassbender's character and what's his face, Liam Cunningham's character. Yeah, and it's just this one shot of them, and just the framing of the shot and the shadows and the colors is just oh god, it's so good. And they have this conversation because he's an inmate and they I don't know, like he's like visiting him in prison or whatever, and they're having a chat about they're catching up and they're also talking about the hunger strike that's coming. But it's it was so phenomenal. It elevated the movie to such a high level. I never could have seen it coming, but I assume you guys would also sing its praises.
Yeah, like it just I already knew that it had that thing in it, like the 20-minute conversation scene or
Okay,
whatever,
yeah,
and but it went like super quick because like it was just so fascinating. Um, you know, Liam's what was his character's name in the movie?
Dom, I think, yeah,
Right, Dom. Yeah, Dom arguing from this point of like this is kind of futile. It's not going to change anything. And Bobby talking about how meaningful it is to him and everything. And it's not just that. They also talked about their histories and like you know their roles and life differences and stuff. It was just really went by really quick, and it was really fascinating.
Christian Brothers got a shout out in there. I was like, yeah, Eddie Rice, get in there.
Oh my god! I mean, things that they'll continue in the future to name after Eddie Rice. But like obviously, their performances were obviously, super impressive. Anyone that can do that is immensely talented. I'll read this trivia first here. So, Hunger is known for its unbroken 17-minute, 10-second continuous shot in which Catholic priest Father Dominic Moran tries to talk to Bobby Sands out of the hunger strike. He and his fellow 75 AIRA. AIRA obviously is what they're called. The IRA members plan to start. The camera remains in the same position throughout the scene. To prepare, Liam Cunningham moved into Michael Fassbender's apartment and they rehearsed the scene 12 to 15 times per day. On the first day of filming, the actors got it perfect after 4 takes. That's some commitment to your craft right there. God.
Yeah.
How cool's that?
Yeah. Just realizing now, like, that they actually had to do that in one take. It's like I don't really think of these things a lot. That if you have a one take thing, like in any movie, they gotta. I mean, the fact that they did so perfectly, for 20 unbroken minutes is crazy.
Absolutely.
Even just following that shot, and when it cuts to like the close up of like half Fassbender's face, and he continues on for another few minutes, like even that, like the intensity just in his gaze and like the because like the way that the smoke is the only like moving object like for like a lot of the scene, and there's just something so like haunting in the way it just billows around, and the way that it's just like I don't know, like those two shots, the 17-minute one and the one of Fassbender after that, like they're just brilliant.
Yeah, I kind of found it at first just because we'd been in that 17-minute position for so long that cutting close up to Fassbender was kind of jarring for me just for a second. I'm like, oh, Jesus, like this conversation's still going and we cut. That was weird. But by the end of that, the whole monologue he gives there, totally necessary. We needed that close up on him for that. Yeah, no, it was so effective. God, they just perfect. They showcased everything they needed to 100%. And they knew in that moment the script required for the shot to be like this, and we need to cut here at exactly this time, and it totally works. It's awesome. I just can't get over how like human beings can memorize that shit, dude. I don't think I could memorize 2 sentences if someone put them in front of me, but it's beyond my reaches
I mean,
of understanding.
you can't read 2 sentences, so memorize. I mean, you're probably right about
Exactly, 100%. The other reason why the scene's so good, acting aside, shots aside, editing aside, is the script, because the dialogue that's delivered here, and I noticed, I don't know if you guys noticed this or why necessarily this is, but I noticed there were small bits throughout it where the subtitles stopped
that. Oh, yeah.
and they continued talking, and I presumed, I don't know, I've got no idea, but would that be because a subtitle, like, that's another question I guess I'm asking, are subtitles transcripts like of the actual movie, or is it just an uploaded text of the script?
On Netflix, I think they are, because like when you're watching things on Netflix, you can tell sometimes there'll be an extra "you" or "I used," or like there'll be a few extra words in there. So I think it might be the case with
Yeah,
some
that's what
things.
it's like for games as well. Yeah,
But for I think for physical media it might not be, but I think for streaming it may be, because I like thinking back to like films that I own on DVD and stuff. I don't think I've had that issue, but when watching Netflix, Disney, whatever, I think that does crop up quite often.
yeah. Well, it might not even be an ad lib thing. Like maybe they'd had conversations with Steve McQueen, and during their rehearsals they decided to add those bits beforehand. But of course, they still weren't in the original script.
Yeah.
But anyway, regardless, sorry. The purpose of that scene is what also makes it so good, despite from just the other technical aspects. Because from it, we'd spent very little time with Bobby before it from memory. We'd kind of had a scene with him and his parents. He was kind of, we see him get beaten to shit. But other than that, this is kind of our gateway to Bobby as a character. And the amount in which this conversation with this person gives us such insight into him, gives us insight into the priest, of course. By the end of it, I totally understood 100% where he was coming from. I totally 100% understood where the priest was coming from. I thought they both had extremely valid perspectives that obviously conflicted. And that was obviously really necessary, I think, for by the end of the movie for you to kind of feel torn by what he's doing. But also it kind of also perhaps encapsulates the entire conflict that's occurring on a granular scale in the movie and the setting of the movie. Perhaps, I don't know. But I think there's some interesting things to be said there. And obviously the story he tells about the fowl and God,
Fall.
just every line is so good. The foal, yes. My apologies. The fowl. The Artemis fowl
Oh,
flashbacks.
thanks.
Yeah.
The only other Irish
But
movie you've seen.
yes, exactly. That's what I compare this to. Obviously Artemis fowl much better. But yeah, no. It just every single line of dialogue served its purpose 100%. I was enthralled by it all. I was entertained by it all. There was some great levity in there too, some great humor. Yeah, couldn't speak highly enough of it.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of the dialogue was the fact that as serious as it got, it still wove humor into it. With the smoking's a terrible habit, but it's beautiful. Whatever like that, and like all small things like that. And
Yeah.
like I just feel like it's like I think it's something similar to like what Australians have. I feel like in the fact that I mean, when you talk about the Anzac spirit, you talk about how you're in World War One they were in the trenches, about to be sent to their deaths, but like they were still cracking jokes sometimes, and whatever to keep the spirit light. And I feel like Australians and Irish have that in common, where no matter how dire it is, they always have that little bit of lightness to the moment type of thing. And I just love seeing that
absolutely
on screen in the way it like it. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it really further, but like it just it was
Banter.
yeah, it just elevated the scene further because it felt realistic as to like what because like in the face of hardship, sometimes you want to make yourself feel a bit happier, so like, it felt realistic in having those little jokes throughout.
No, 100%. It adds so much, and like I was so glad that the story of the foal, not the fowl, that entire thing is so important, I think, to the entire movie. I don't know if the movie really works without it. I mean, it definitely wouldn't work without it with the ending. But I love how we mentioned the close up on Michael Fassbender the entire time he's telling it, and the restraint, I would presume, perhaps, that they showed not to, cut away to young Michael Fassbender in that moment while he's telling it, like doing the thing he's saying. Like they totally just believed in Fassbender's performance in the moment for him to just completely carry it by himself without, flashbacks or whatever. But then the fact we still get the flashback to Michael Fassbender younger right at the end was really awesome as well. But that whole thing was just so awesome with everything about, him being a leader, how he is always able to take direct action, to do what he believes is right or for the cause he believes in and all that stuff, no matter the repercussions. And obviously, it greatly affects him with the hunger. I can't believe we haven't talked about his physical state enough yet in this movie. But then obviously it emotionally affects him with the fall in the past as well. It's just such a great parallel that totally told me everything about this person so effectively.
Yeah, and like it shows how even with how like disturbing and how like how hard to watch it is at the end, and like, especially how hard it would be how hard it would be to like put yourself through that. It kind of shows like you have the your purpose, and that kind of just overrides all that. And that conversation just shows his determination and will so well.
100%. Is this the part where we just have to get to the fasting, don't we? We have to get to the actual hunger strike. We mentioned how terrible it was to look at. Don't think we can. I don't think we could each emphasize that enough. I'll kick it off with some trivia about it. So, Michael Fassbender had to go on a medically monitored crash diet to portray Bobby Sands, obviously in those final moments. Dude, how can that was unbelievable. Everything about it. Obviously, the physical state, of Bobby there was just absolutely. That is, if you'd asked me beforehand, like, oh, what's a person who's really hungry in this movie going to look like? I'd just be like, oh, okay, well, they're going to be skinny, cool. But none of that could, just describing it couldn't do it justice to the way in which it was portrayed, and the God, Jesus, the sores everywhere, the how he was completely delirious in the end, and yeah, Jesus Christ,
Mm.
it was absolutely unbelievable. And credit to the director, of course, it's not just all in, let's get this guy super skinny and film it. Like, obviously, there are a lot of really deliberate shots and things, like the shot we get and the edit we get of we see the plates of meals constantly coming and going from the bedside table with him completely unmoving in the bed behind.
Yeah.
And there are a few others like that, him in the bath, so hard with it all, and it worked.
I love the shot where, like, just falling out after he collapses getting out of the bath, the way the doctor carries him, like, it just, I mean, it shows how vulnerable it is, and, like, I guess it ties back to the foal. It looks like, you're carrying an injured, baby horse. And, like, it's just at your mercy, and it's just, completely,
No, yeah, no, definitely. Say no more.
I forgot what I was gonna
Couldn't
go with
agree
that,
more.
but yeah,
Yeah, the vulnerability of him there, and just the scene where, like, I think he's kind of right on the edge. I think this is right before he passes, where he's at, obviously he's worse physically and he's completely delirious at that point. I love him seeing his younger self, because at first, because he does have a son, they mentioned that, so I thought that was his son, but the fact it wasn't was kind of a cool surprise too. But and the way in which Fassbender's performance, and we see how his eyes are just completely seeing nothing, and that shit was horrifying. But also the camera movements as well. The scene where we get the fading between the trees and the birds with him basically degrading in front of you, and the camera movements just swinging around above his head, and just felt so deliberate. And yeah, I just, yeah, it just totally made me feel so uncomfortable as it was meant to, and I noticed that shit. It was really cool. But what about the actual ending? Fitzy, it's time for you to shine, okay? I liked the ending. I kind of took it as just him. Um, I don't know. So his younger self kind of took a second to look back, and he just kind of kept running forward. I kind of took it as a thing of he has no regrets about what he's done and he believes in the cause kind of thing. Is that what you took from it?
Yeah. Like, yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Um,
Oh wow, I just totally nailed it.
well, I don't know. What do you think, Zach?
That's what I think. I do believe that was my interpretation.
I think it's pretty. The ending is pretty simple like that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything hidden in this movie. It's pretty. It lays it out for you, I guess. Yeah, but going back to like the hunger thing, when the doctor put that like metal thing on top of him, so like the blanket wouldn't, it's like the blanket was too um heavy for his body or something. That was like,
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. And just his corpse. Yeah. No, that was all genuinely disturbing. But did you like the ending, Jan? Do you have anything to add to that?
No, not really. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it dipped a bit into, um, just like his, like, McQueen trying to be a bit artsy. Not that it was anything bad. I think it worked, but, like, because the way that the kid stares into the camera, right? It's not like he's staring behind it, right?
No, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
And like the fact that he's staring into the camera kind of seems more. It's
it's a bit of a trope, sort of.
yeah, yeah, but like I still think it's fine, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like it's a minor issue, but like nothing significant enough, you know.
No, yeah. I totally buy it just because of the way it tied back into everything we'd learned beforehand.
Yeah,
You know,
for sure. Yeah.
if we hadn't had the stuff about the story of the fall again, I keep bringing up that bloody story, but it's so good. If we hadn't have had that, it would have been maybe a bit weird, but nah, it totally kind of comes full circle.
One of my favorite scenes in the film was the scene where the I don't know what to call them, but the guys with the batons came in.
Yeah.
That was such like
Oh,
an intense scene. Probably one of the most like fast paced in the movie, and just like that shot where you have that one guy who's like who's guilty and crying. Um, you know what I'm
that
talking about,
coward.
right?
No, that was awesome. Yeah,
Yeah, and it was just
I
like
guess they're
such
like
a
riot squad dudes. I guess is what you'd call them. I don't
yeah, I
know. They got the
guess
riot shields. Yeah.
yeah, and it was just such a brutal scene as well. And I love there's a little detail before like you can see you have the one who cries in the end and he's looking at some guy and he like smirks a little bit and it's kind of like he's wondering like how should we feel about this like
Mm.
I assume he's like identifies as British or a British guy.
The dude who was really upset by it, he was great because he just kind of, and the same goes with the warden. No, not the warden. What do you call it? Like, I don't know, just the security prison guard or whatever that we also follow for a little bit. Um, just kind of presents a great holistic perspective, a somewhat, the movie's attempt to kind of present an objective perspective of the conflict in play, but also just, the toll obviously it pays on everyone involved. We see it, the toll very clearly for Bobby, but to, yeah, get two sides of the coin for these grunts, these people that are just, in the movie just basically just beat the shit out of them, and that's kind of their role. But to get the depth to them as well, I think is really important. But no, so sorry, Jane. I don't know if you're going to move on to this, but just because I think it's a good segue from the right dude is that security guard. Um, he's who we start the movie with, and I think he was a cool starting point because we kind of get some historical context with him in the car and the radio at first, heading into the prison, and the repeated shot of him, brushing off his I should say, washing his bloody knuckles in the water. So we immediately feel that sympathy for him. Kind of, we kind of connect with him immediately. So then it's kind of confronting when we see him beat the living shit out of the prisoners. It's not so much a reverse thing where it's like this guy beats the shit out of the prisoners and then we realize he actually feels sorry for it. We kind of get it in reverse, um, which was cool. And then his death was shocking when he just got totally blasted in the friggin' old folks' home. That was crazy.
Yeah, and also like restrained as well. It wasn't like it was just very simple, I guess.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Mm. That kind of was what I was going to move on to. Just like talk about how it presents a fair view. I'd say fair view of both Unionists and Republicans.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and I was going to mention how starting with him was an important part of that because he's the first thing you develop a connection to. So and like seeing him die, when he's most vulnerable was also another reason because like the thing is like yeah these were politically motivated killings, but they're still horrendous
mm,
murders, I guess. So like, but I think the movie
yeah,
does a good job of not really vilifying anyone too much above like what they actually were, apart from it feels like Maggie Thatcher's the only one that's actually like they actually try to make a villain out of,
Hmm.
and I think
right,
just by
yeah,
using like those two excerpts from like two of the speeches, they do a brilliant job of it, like in just like the way they play it over.
Yeah. Well, I think it does show her position on the matter pretty objectively though. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
she was pretty stubborn about not, giving these freedoms to the Irish, pretty much.
Mm.
Yeah, as someone who's not as ingrained in the historical context of it, I don't know. I didn't really take the Maggie Thatcher stuff as the attempt to vilify her. I don't know. Like, I kind of, and maybe, yeah, maybe I just don't know enough about it. You're probably right now that you say it, actually. But in the moment, I kind of just saw that as, which, yeah, now that I say it out loud, it's kind of weird because we do already get the opening title screens to kind of explain that anyway. But I kind of just took it as kind of an exposition opportunity. But I guess, no, that could be another intent of it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like, because just knowing how widely hated Thatcher is, I mean, like that's kind of what I took the, using her excerpt
Sure.
as. And because like even before, like that, like we're in the 17-minute take, Dom acknowledges, he's like, yeah, everyone knows how bad the English are, and it's like, it's just using it's in that, but like, they still show a fair point of like, just like the police officers. I mean, like obviously that we're showing them beating them up or whatever, but like, that's what they've been told to do, that's what they're ordered to do. But when it comes to Maggie, that's when they kind of, I don't know, that's just
Yeah.
how I took it. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. But yeah, no, we get the killing that security guard when he was most vulnerable, absolutely. And then we get the shot I like most of him is when he's just smoking out in the cold and it's just a long holding shot on him. You feel that despair there, Yeah, I mean, it's like snowing and shit. It's really like stark white, so it's kind of, pretty obvious, but nonetheless it works. Shout out to a random shot in the movie. I think it was one of the first shots actually, is just when the security guard dude, we see that like before he leaves his house, he actually checks under his car.
Yeah.
Which is something in the moment I was real dumb and did not understand that. But then in retrospect, I was like, oh, okay, I get that. But the shot when he's actually like eating his food and crumbs are falling, like on his, I don't know, on his clothes and shit, like kind of beneath the table. Dude, that shit made me like longing for food, not to waste food, and the movie hadn't even started yet. That was like a really great note to start.
Yeah, just like as you said, the that shot with him smoking outside, like everything kind of just builds. Everything kind of builds a very dark kind of tense atmosphere for everybody. Really.
Yeah.
I feel like his death is the only moment of relief, of tension, because I think throughout the film it's constantly building just the way that I mean, music doesn't occur often in the film. It's usually just dead silence, but it comes in like more more intense moments, like when they take him out, like all that stuff, like just. But they want to emphasize the actual sounds of to emphasize the horror. They just use the actual sounds of the beatings and the screams or whatever. But when you get the shots of that dude, outside, and you have that kind of building music, and like, I think like when he dies is the only moment of relief, because like the only other, because like after that I feel like it builds again, but when Bobby dies it doesn't really feel like a relief.
No. The yeah, so when he dies, right, like the end screen points out that it was like a paramilitary that killed him. Is that just the IRA? Is that what that means?
Yeah. Yeah,
And, and
probably.
there were kind of like extreme like branches of the IRA, wasn't there? They're like, because like so you hear Don talking about leadership, so he's referring to like the leadership of like the Republic movement, but then you have the IRA, which is the Republic Army, right?
Yeah.
And then you also
Right.
have like this, I think what they're referring to, like the paramilitary part of like more extreme version of the IRA that don't want to wait around and listen anymore. Is that what
Right.
it kind of is?
I guess so. That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking out for confirmation. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Mm, yeah. Well, you know, pretty much everyone was for the Republican side in Ireland, but they just the leaders of the parties and stuff didn't want the IRA to be too do things too violent to tear apart their negotiations and stuff like that.
You mentioned the music quickly. It definitely doesn't come in often, but just to emphasize what you said, when it comes in though, it comes in hard.
Mm. I mean, it kind of reminds me of like, kind of like what Johan Johansson used to do, and the fact that his scores are really subtle, but they're effective. And I think, actually, I guess it reminds me more of No Country for Old Men, where the fact that it wasn't in it often, but like you just said, like it comes in hard and it is effective when it is there. Yeah. Would you go on a hunger strike if you were in that position?
Oh, dude, I couldn't even begin to comprehend being in that position.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be able to shears my I wouldn't even be able to like smear my shit on the wall. I'd call it quits then.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. God, there's no way I'd do that.
Oh,
That was foul.
that shot where the water, what is it, like the water?
Like when he uses the pressure washer to wash it.
Yeah, pressure washer, and it's like a spiral of shit. It's such a good job.
I feel like it would be really satisfying to clean that off. I'm not gonna lie. Like when that satisfying feeling when you just see it coming off slowly and you got dude. I kind of would like that job, honestly.
Sure.
You should check out the subreddit power washing porn, because it's just videos of that.
Really, holy shit, dude! You might have just changed my life.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, like, the way that it builds tension and it's more tense than what most horror films are. I mean, the way that, you're kind of always holding your breath without really realizing it. And like the way that's crafted is really superb, and that's what I was gonna say.
Did you? I didn't really feel that until probably the last 20 minutes, like when the actual fasting starts, because I'm during the 17-minute conversation, I was enjoying the shit out of it, but I wasn't like that personally. Did you still feel everything building in that moment as well?
Towards the end of that conversation, when as he starts to, because the start of the conversation is about their lives and whatever, but as he starts talking about it, more adamantly, you kind of get that feeling. But I guess I'm not I guess it didn't occur throughout the entire film, but like that scene with the riot squad, that scene where they're cutting their hair and like they're ripping them out of the cells, obviously the ending scene, I think it happens enough. And like even the opening, just as he checks under his car, I mean it's so terrifying, I mean, could you imagine like having to check under your car every day, just to make sure there's no bomb there? I mean,
And that simple scene where the first inmate that we follow has to, he says he's not going to wear prison clothes, and then he just kind of slowly strips because they are all just staring him down, for a good 3 minutes.
Yeah, totally. I forgot about that too. That was good. I probably should have said it at the start, but just trivia. This was Steve McQueen's first theatrical film, so pretty. He'll go on to do big things one day, I'm sure. It might even win an Academy Award one day.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's one thing I kind of think about Steve McQueen's view. Like, he takes a very kind of clinical, objective kind of perspective, and just doesn't, he's not afraid to show things, even in shame and stuff. It's all about sexual addiction and stuff.
Pulls no punches.
Yeah.
Hunger out of 10. I'll go first. I'll give it an 8. I thought it was great. I wish the start kind of captured me a bit sooner. I think on a rewatch, I feel like maybe it would keep with me more because I've kind of maybe just had a second to adjust to what was kind of going on. But no, I thought it was a really great movie. 10 out of 10, one take shot, really effective ending. Yeah, no, totally, highly recommend it.
I'll give it a 9. Brilliantly, shot, and just handles the subject matter really well. And yeah, perfect conversation and all that. So yeah.
Did you just call our conversation perfect?
No, I meant that conversation.
Yeah, I know what you meant. But I mean, some might say our conversation's also perfect.
I don't reckon.
Nah, no one's ever said that.
Is it my turn? Yeah, I'm also going to go with the 9. I mean, I think it's flawless, and I don't think I've really criticized it at all throughout this. But I think I think I agree with you with some of the startings, with some of the sequences early on, just like with the two dudes. Sometimes it felt like we hung on them for a bit too much. Of just like how much can you really just sit in there and stare at two dudes in a shit covered cell? But because yeah, I think like that was my only issue. I guess like there was some, like occasions like that where there was sometimes just too long spent on certain things.
Yeah. I wish we'd gotten more time or something more substantial to cling on to with them, because they just felt like stand in, look at these prisoners and look at their situation kind of thing to get us to Bobby, which is fine. But, I wish I'd got something a little bit more out of them, I guess, yeah.
Actually, just to continue the tradition of mentioning shit after we giving our scores, I was reading that like at the end of the hunger strike, they were given they were given a status, and there were some reform, but it was rather irrelevant because like it came at a time of just general prison reform anyway. So some of those things that they were demanding, that they were hunger striking for, they were going to come around soon. I mean, obviously there's still, I guess, a victory in their eyes, whatever. Like, I guess it's a victory, but like, in terms of how much they actually won out of that, this thing, it wasn't that significant.
Yeah. Oh well, let's get into news chat. I don't know. That movie was heavy, wasn't it? Jesus.
Yeah. Now you have to lighten it up for news chat.
You have to try.
Jared
Leto's in Tron, guys. Yay. Yeah. But it was like what was it like? I don't know. Who knows how many episodes it was ago. Dude, you could say it was 3 episodes. You could tell me it was 15 episodes ago. I don't know. Anywhere in between. But at some point, we mentioned that there was a Tron 3 happening, maybe.
Yeah.
And Jared Leto was maybe in it. But now, confirmed. It is happening. We've got the same director as Lion helming it. Do you know his name, Jaden? I don't.
Gareth something. Evans? Gareth Evans, is it?
Is he Aussie?
Gareth Edwards.
Is it Edwards?
No, Gareth Edwards is Rogue One.
Yeah, I think it's Gareth Evans, I think.
Okay.
Oh wait, what was the? What was the Wolverine director? Was it Gavin Hood?
Gavin Hood.
Oh, I was thinking of him.
Never forget.
Yeah, he is Aussie. It is Gareth Evans. He's from Melbourne. Yeah.
Oh well, good for him.
Oh wait, no, it's not. Sorry, that's an Australian senator. Shit, sorry. Hold on. The film director is Gareth Evans though, but he was born.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, boo.
Yeah.
Damn it. Oh well.
Hold on.
I was trying so hard to claim him.
No, it's not Gareth Evans. That's a different dude.
Jesus.
Hold on.
The plot thickens.
Wait, let me just type in Lion director, and perhaps that'll generate better.
That would, yeah.
Better results.
Come on,
Gareth
come on, be Aussie.
That's what it is.
Gareth Davis, okay.
Garth Davis. Oh wait.
Garth Davis. No, it is Garth Davis.
Garth Davis. Holy shit, dude.
He was born in Brisbane. Yeah, there you go.
God. That was a roller coaster we just went on.
Yeah.
Twists and turns.
What a journey.
It really was. Oh well, the end result could be cool. I know, like, Jaden's someone into Tron, I think. Are you into Tron, Fitzy?
I haven't seen the original. The original looks like shit, but
It does.
I like the sequel. Just for the visuals and the soundtrack.
Did I do your thoughts justice by saying you were somewhat into it, Jaden?
Oh no, I proper love the film.
Okay.
I haven't seen the original either, but like Tron Legacy, I absolutely love.
Cool.
I will stand by it. I don't know. I guess some of the writing's a bit cliche, but I mean, it's great. But I think I read that Tron 3 isn't going to have anything to do with the first one or Tron Legacy. Did you see that too, or is that just me?
No, I didn't look any more into it, so...
Right. Yeah,
you might be right.
I'm pretty sure I read that. I think I don't think it's... Because... So Tron Legacy continues the story of the first one where, with Sam Flynn and his father and whatever, and the creation of Tron and, whatever that stuff. And the way it ends, it kind of sets up this idea of, the programs in the real world and like what's going to occur there. But I think Tron 3 is just going to be a return to the computer and like not focus on real world too much.
Right. Cool. Well, before you see Jared Leto in Tron 3, you can look forward to him in Morbius. Whenever that's coming out, get hyped.
People seem to make jokes about, if Jared Leto signs to a project, it's kind of the death of it.
Is it?
I mean, people just don't seem to respect him too much. I think it kind of just started after, his performance as the Joker. But like whenever I see his name on like, just movie forums or on Instagram or whatever, like people, and like when it says he's attached to this project, people will start complaining, and I'm not sure if that's like an actual thing or if that's just idiots.
I mean, that sounds a bit unfair. I know there's all those things about how he's actually some kind of like cult leader in real life or some shit. I don't know how accurate that is, but how like last year he went on some really strange sounding religious retreat of some sort, and he took people with him, and it sounded really suspicious. But regardless of that, I don't know how true that is. But I mean, that sounds unfair. I don't even think, like, from memory, he was totally fine as the Joker. He was like the least of that movie's problems.
Yeah, I mean, he's had good performances in other movies. Yeah, like Dallas Buyers Club and Missing Nobody and all that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, Joker kind of ruined his reputation a little bit.
I think it might just be like Marvel fanboys complaining that he's in Morbius and like other nerd products and stuff like that. I think that's what it might be.
Oh no, maybe.
Because I mean, like,
well, we know Morbius is going to be great.
Even his role in Blade Runner 2049, although it's brief, I think he does a decent job of it. Yeah.
Wait, wasn't Michael Keaton in the Morbius trailer?
He was, dude. That shit was. Oh my god.
That like connects the universes.
Dude, dude, don't even get me started. If that news had broken, if we'd gotten that while we were doing this show, dude, I would have had some shit to say. But Jesus, oh god, it's terrifying.
Not keen for it, or you are?
God no, because it's like some bullshit where. Okay, so like this Sony. Actually, maybe we have talked about this before. I don't remember, but like the Sony Marvel universe it's been its own thing with Venom and now Morbius, and its own thing over on the side, and the MCU totally separate. So now you're saying Michael Keaton from the MCU is going to be in the Sony universe, like the same character. Okay, so then that implies that Venom is also in the MCU. But then I read some bullshit like where, with the Sony Marvel negotiations, all that bullshit that kept going on forever, that like that's not true. Like the MCU exists in the Sony universe, but not vice versa, which is just the dumbest shit of all time. You know what I mean? So like Venom isn't in the MCU, but Michael Keaton's in the Sony thing. Whatever. It's annoying.
What is like the history of Sony and Spider-Man? Because like Spider-Man was originally just a Marvel character, right?
Sure. Yeah. Well, Sony bought the. Actually, I heard about this just the other day. Coincidentally, Sony bought the film rights to Spider-Man in the 80s, I believe. Obviously, they never made a movie for a while after that, but
geniuses.
Yeah, they were ahead of the curve on that one, and they obviously just refused to give it up. Fair enough. It's profitable.
I know. It's gonna be like one of the biggest IPs, just like in terms of like budgetary wise, like how much money it rakes in. I don't understand why you'd want to give it back to Marvel.
Well, yeah. Let's leave the universes talk for now. Get into a remake of The Witches, which I'm so glad you mentioned you hate this movie, Jan, because dude, this is I don't know if I could actually, have any real opinion on it, like a critical opinion. As a young lad, though, this movie was terrible to me. I absolutely hated it. It terrified the shit out of me. And not even in like I was a genuinely scared way. It was just gross. Like all the character, the friggin' makeup and shit. I hated that movie so much.
Yeah. I just don't like Roald Dahl that much. I mean, I've never really enjoyed his books. Like, I love Fantastic Mr. Fox by Wes Anderson, but that's because it's, Wes Anderson, whatever. But like, in terms of like Roald Dahl's other products, I've never really enjoyed them too much. But like, The Witches is one that I especially hate. Like, I just cannot stand it at all. Because I remember someone recommending it to me, like as a child, just like the book, like and saying, oh, it's his best one, and I read it and I hated it, and I hate the film and I hate everything about it. But then with this news that came out. Do you want to mention the news, or is that your role?
No, I'll go for it. So we got a remake of this movie. Apparently, we've got Del Toro, Benicio. No, not Benicio. God damn it! What's his face? Guillermo del Toro and Alfonso Cuarón. They're producers, right, Jade?
I think Del Toro's writing, Cuarón's produced,
Got it.
and then Big Rob's director.
Yeah. Yeah, Big Rob. Robert Zemeckis is directing, who's the Back to the Future dude. So that sounds interesting. Robert Zemeckis.
Isn't it Zemeckis?
Zemeckis, yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. He, the other day, I was surprised by something else he did the other day. I was like looking through and I was like, wow, Robert Zemeckis. I've already forgotten what you just said. Zemeckis. He did that movie? I can't remember. What else has he done? Back to the Future.
I was on Forrest Gump.
Was it Forrest Gump? That was it. No shit, that was it. Okay, yeah, I was surprised he did that. Okay. Castaway, yeah. Maybe Tom Hanks is going to be in this Witches movie.
I think because on the poster that leaked, it had some of the cast. So, I mean, if you check out the poster on Witches poster. Oh god, I just saw an image of the 90s one. Who's that? It looks like it's got is that Eva Green? No, it's Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway, Octavia Spencer, and looks like Stanley Tucci.
Okay, weird. Okay. Do people dislike Anne Hathaway? Because I feel like every now and then I see negative reactions to her, but I don't know.
I quite like Anne Hathaway. I've got no reason to dislike her. I wasn't aware of this opinion, but perhaps.
Well, neither do I. I feel like I've seen it more than once, to the point where it's become notable to me a little bit.
I mean, what's she been in that can piss people off? I mean,
I don't know.
I guess. But I think
that movie's not good. Yeah.
Effectual. I mean, she's pretty bang on with her acting. I mean,
yeah, I've got no complaints.
Yeah.
Great in Interstellar, obviously.
Hoodwinked.
She's in Hoodwinked? Is she the lead?
Yeah. Little Red One.
Oh, okay,
right.
wow.
I mean, that's a voice role. I don't know how much you can actually criticize her for that. I mean,
she's good.
How dare you degrade vocal performances?
Maybe, just because she's been in a lot of romantic comedies or something like that. People look
even to that claim, because actually now you're saying that, I do remember people dismiss her as an actor because of how many comedic products she's in, but I think it's Rachel getting married. I mean, it's a dramatic role, and she does really well in it. So I mean, even the criticizing her for the fact that she only does light movies, it's invalid,
Yeah, definitely. Oh well, I definitely won't be looking forward to this remake.
No.
Will either of you two?
I'm curious, I guess.
Okay. I mean, with the names attached, I am curious, yeah, but yeah.
I almost wish these names weren't attached, because
same, yeah.
With these names attached, it kind of screams that it will at least be competent, or at least be good. I kind of wish we just got the news and these names weren't attached, and that way I could hope that it's terrible. And I could like it for that reason.
Del Toro seems to be a lot recently. I mean, he's got his Pinocchio remake going on. He's producing Antlers in this film, apparently. A few other stuff up his sleeve. Busy man.
Yeah, for sure. Appearing in Death Stranding, but not really.
Yeah, it was just a voiceover role.
No, he does none of the voice in Death Stranding. It's just his likeness.
Oh, what? Really?
Yeah. It's another actor, but they use his likeness.
Oh, that's crazy. I thought when he was talking to me, I was actually listening to Del Toro.
No, you're not. Yeah.
I feel betrayed.
I get that.
Because, I mean, hearing him talk in interviews, it does sound like him. I mean,
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it was meant to sound like... Yeah, I'm sure it was, trying to sound like him, yeah.
Okay, right, yeah.
Yeah, I guess he just didn't have the time, fair enough. Great character, though. But, yeah, anyway. Let's talk about the Devil All the Time trailer that Fitchy saw. This is a Robert Pattinson, Tom Holland movie. Was there someone else?
Sebastian Stan.
That's right. Yeah. You didn't see it, did you, Jane? No, I didn't.
Nah, give it over to Fitzy for this. He'll
Spill
take
the beans.
Yeah, I don't really know anything about the plot, I guess. The trailer didn't give that much away.
Okay.
But there's this... Yeah, Robert, what's his name? Robert Pattinson has this very like southern kind of Christian accent. They're all at this church. And they're all like, um, yeah, they all kind of southern and based on sin and stuff. I don't really know, but
Okay, okay.
It's
what?
a book adaptation, isn't it?
Hmm.
I don't know.
Riley Liu, wasn't it Riley Liu? Isn't it as well? She's she's
Oh,
great.
Riley Keough.
Kia, yeah, she's great. She's in American Honey and stuff. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, she looks decent.
That's a wrap on news chat. What have we been watching? Yeah, someone who wants to kick us off.
You do.
Do I?
Yep.
I feel like I've done it the last few weeks.
Yep. So we're going to stick with that.
Sure, okay. Fine then. uh what do I mention? I mean watching The Last Kingdom on Netflix. Uh TV program. I'm almost halfway through it. And I'm enjoying it. I like it a lot. It's kind of like it's set in I don't know what were the years of like the Vikings and shit, like friggin' I don't know, like 1200, 1100 around that time, I guess, I don't know. Back in the days when England was split into all these kingdoms that, previously I'm a dumbass, didn't know much about it. But I mean, yeah, it's cool. I like it. It kind of reminds me interesting analogy. It kind of reminds me of a video game story, I guess, in that and I'm not talking about a good video game story. No, that sounded unfair. I'm not talking about like a Naughty Dog story. Okay, Naughty Dog stories are like up there with film and TV, like the best of the best. I'm talking about like any other video game story in the sense that it's still good. Like I enjoy it, but like there's some weirdness to it. Like there's some logical inconsistencies that kind of have me, every now and again thinking like, what is going on exactly? Um, there's some weird moments in there throughout. There's some one note characters that are just like comically just this. Um, if that makes any sense, like there's characters that are just so easy to despise, but not even in a good way. Like I feel like when people talk about characters to despise, we think of Joffrey, right? And he, obviously a little shit. Everyone hates him, rightly so. But I don't know, he still felt like a real person to me at least. Like nothing, he never felt cartoonishly terrible. He was just terrible. Um, whereas there are a handful of characters that are cartoonishly terrible, and cartoonishly all over the map kind of thing. Um, so I don't think it's like, a pristine, amazing drama by any stretch of the imagination. But I enjoy the setting, I enjoy the time period, the set design's cool. There's some cool action in there. Um, I'm enjoying the ride. I'm just enjoying the characters, see where it goes. But yeah, The Last Kingdom, I like it. What have you guys been watching?
Um,
You volunteer.
I volunteer as tribute.
Yes.
I watched Singing in the Rain for uni.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was pretty great. There's a lot of bangers in there and a lot of cool dancing, cool big like colorful sets and stuff. Um, yeah, and it's just like really well paced kind of story about the birth of like talking like sound in the movies. Talkies is what they called it.
Oh,
And,
okay, yeah.
yeah, and it's a bit goofball corny because it's like just that kind of musical kind of thing. But no, it's really well made and paced and stuff like that. So yeah, that was good.
Why did you watch it for uni, if you don't mind me asking?
Just one of my classes making movies class.
Right.
So I had to watch just for like a kind of quiz thing.
That's a
Yeah.
Cinema Effect endorsed class right there.
Does that mean it's sponsored by Stan as well?
Mm,
Class.
mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
true. It's like a roll-on effect. So the class is sponsored by Stan, and due to that connection, it also has what's the guy's name? David Webb Peoples as a friend of the class,
Hmm.
and so on. Yeah.
Rewatched Inglorious Bastards. Really loved it this time. I think I was just like connected with the more emotional side of it, I guess. Just like, the desire for like vengeance and justice, and like even without that, there's just so much the suspense in the film. Like even in the opening scene with the farm, it's just like absolute
Oh yeah.
dread, But when you add the historical context and just like the just the way like what's Shoshana's, I forget her actor's name.
Melanie Laurent, is it?
Hmm.
Or is it?
Um,
Or is it the other one? I get them confused.
yeah, Melanie Laurent, just like, you can see that the trauma that this has in her, especially in that, like, dinner scene later when she meets Hans again for the second time. He's such a like a intimidating villain as well. In that opening scene, he like he's when he shakes one of the hands of the farmer's like daughters, you can see him like checking her pulse, and it's just like small stuff like that, and he's always like in total control of the situation and stuff like that. But yeah, and I just love how it builds to that final like um I don't know, like crescendo of like justice and just all the
And murdering Hitler.
murdering Hitler and all the chaos that goes on. And yeah, I think it's really like one of Tarantino's more emotionally like impactful when you really connect with it. Or I did at least, and
Mm.
yeah, I think it's like his best, I guess, or one of his best.
I love that.
Um,
I love that the movie they're making it like about Daniel Bruhl's character. It's just like it's something that Zach would upload to YouTube when he was 12. Just as a Call of Duty sniper montage.
Yeah, that's right.
And like every time that he gets a kill, the whole crowd cheers. Like it's such a funny scene. I just love the entire film. Yeah, that's brilliant.
I need a rewatch of that too, definitely. I think, like, the first time I watched it, I really liked it, but I don't know, there was something holding me back to where mm, maybe at that point I didn't really have a great understanding of, like, Tarantino, what his movies are, because at the time I never really liked the ahistorical approach of let's kill Hitler here. Like, that was kind of weird to me. I don't know, like, looking back, that's kind of a weird complaint, but I thought it was strange the way in which he went to change history. It kind of bothered me, but weird complaint in retrospect. I feel like if I watched it again with that at the window, I'd totally buy into it.
yeah. Well, what other films does he? I mean, Hollywood, he does that as well.
Hollywood, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
is there another? I don't know. Don't think so. But
Uh,
yeah, but that's the thing. Like, it didn't bother me in Hollywood at all. I think just by that point, because I think I kind of just got it more. It just clicked with me.
right. And yeah, Fassbender's in it as well. He's amazing. Brad Pitt. And yeah, I also watched Psycho, which is great. Um, I don't feel like I have much to say about it. I guess great performance by you know guy who plays Norman Bates. What's his name?
Anthony Perkins.
Anthony Perkins, and
Did you just break a pencil?
sorry about that. It's sorry.
It sounded like you had built up rage and you're like snapping this pencil.
Hmm. No, it was nail polish attached to the desk, of course.
Oh, okay, okay.
Um,
That's all good.
yeah, and it's really well shot and scary. So yeah. What about you, Jen?
What did I watch? I've started my rewatch of the Harry Potter series. Got through 4 of them. I mean, I, I think Cedric's death at the end of number 4 has to be one of the most devastating in the series. I think like that's a fact that I always stand by. Like I think like Cedric's death is the most impactful outside of Sirius's. Do you guys feel that?
Hmm. I don't. No, I don't.
No,
But I also like totally get what you're saying.
it's because that is the first time that Harry experiences real death, and it's the first time the audience does as well. I mean, obviously, his parents in number one, but like
Oh yeah.
we don't really have much of a connection to that at all. But like what I wrote in my just like my letterbox thing, like the way it's shown, like the wailing, his refusal to let go, like Amos's screams of "That's my son." It's absolutely devastating. It's heartbreaking, and like every time I watch it, like it kills me. I mean, like, like 100%. Like Albus's death sad. Fred, is it Fred or George's death? Like, which one? I think Fred dies. Like his death is horrid as well. Like I can't stand it. But because Cedric's is like the first big one, it's always the more impactful.
Sure.
Yeah, Cedric. I just love Cedric as a character as well. Though, like he's just such a pure person.
Yeah, exactly. And also like that. That's why like Dumbledore's eulogy, like when he describes him as a fierce friend, and like that's such a brilliant way to describe someone, and that's what makes it like even more soul crushing.
There's nothing cooler than a popular kid who's also pretty dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of like you.
What? I don't know if popular goes well with me, but I appreciate it.
Cool.
Wow, high compliments.
Yeah. Moving on from Harry Potter and my feelings of Cedric. I rewatched Mission Impossible again, Fallout, and I moved that up to a 10. I don't know why I denied myself the first time. Like, I mean, I watched it too. I like the fact that I can watch it 2 weeks later and still be just as thoroughly entertained and just as enthralled and just as invested, and this time appreciate so much more about it too. Like Mission Impossible Fallout's like the perfect action film, because it's more than just an action film as well. It actually has good drama, good mystery. I think that's like one of the best things about Mission Impossible series, the way that they craft their mysteries as well. I guess it kind of is predictable. I think I mentioned it when I first watched it, like the fact that the series has always been about betrayals and double crossing, so you always have that. But the way that it undertakes it is great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love the motorbike scene from Mission Impossible 2.
God damn it, Fitzy.
The only thing we talk about too is Hans Zimmer's score, and that's it.
Oh my god, let's just forget 2 existed.
And then I watched some. Sorry, have you got more to say about?
Yeah. I've got more to say about it too. Jay.
Yeah.
Like when he went in with the mask. Wait, no, he put the mask on the other person, and like he couldn't tell him. That was a good moment. And
I don't appreciate this. We're talking about one of the great action franchises. Okay, I'm right up there with Jay, and I appreciate that he's right into it now. But I don't like this. You're bringing it down, Fitzy. I don't like it.
I'm just telling you scenes that I liked from number 2, and the end scene where he like kicks up the gun and from the this sand. I used to try and do that with a friend because I liked it so much.
I've got a challenge for you, Jane. I mean, Fallout, dude, so well shot. I love that movie. But can you pick a favorite moment from Fallout?
Yeah, I can. I think. It's when he first learns about the plan to steal Sean Harris back, and like we get the scene, but we obviously when we get it we don't realize it's just his vision, but like the way that sound apart from just like Lawn Bolt's score, which is so brilliant that I've ordered it on vinyl, and the way that plays out, it's so cinematic, and it's like it's so brilliant, and like the way it's executed and the way that everything occurs, and like it all leads to Tom Cruise standing over this one police officer as he's like pressured to shoot him, and then you're like, oh my god, did he actually do that? But it just cuts back to that, and like while usually, but like traditionally, like if a sequence like that occurs, it's kind of a punch in the face. But I think the way it's executed in that film is just so brilliant and so tense and so emotional and so fantastic. I'm not sure if it is my favorite, but it's definitely a standout for me.
Oh, dude, it's so hard to choose.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Do you
Like
know?
how like every act in that movie has like standout like amazing moments. I love the first act when they trick the dude into giving away the plans,
Mm.
like by pretending that it's already happened and they have the fake CNN presented. Like that shit's awesome. Getting into that stuff in the second act, the
Yeah.
entire friggin' bit in Rome. Holy shit, dude. That's next level.
When the like punches line up to the music in the toilet scene, in the
Oh yeah.
bathroom scene, that's fucking epic.
Oh, and yeah, how could I forget about the skydive? Holy shit. And I wasn't even completely forgot about that. And just everything with Henry Cavill in the chopper at the end. Oh my lord.
Even just like even at the end, like when they cut the wire and it just cuts to white, and when it fades in, it's Tom Cruise looking at the horizon. But for a second, you're tricked into thinking he's looking at like an atom cloud, and you're like, oh my god, no. And like it turns out it's all right. Which I mean, it's kind of I guess it's always going to be all right. But like the way it's crafted, the fact that an action movie made me doubt everything's going to be all right is fantastic and absolutely brilliant.
Oh god. The scores. Oh my god, everything about it. But yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, you're making me want to watch it right now.
Yeah, I'll rewatch it two Saturdays in a row. I'm down for that.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then I watched some more Hitchcock, but yeah, that was my week.
What do you mean some more Hitchcock?
I watched Notorious and Saboteur, which are two more of his films.
Sure.
Notorious was decent, not that great. But Ingrid Bergman was in there, and she's such a brilliant actress. I mean, one of a kind, really. And then The Saboteur was a better movie, in my opinion. It was just told a better story. Yeah, I don't know. I love Hitchcock films. They're so great. They're so entertaining. They're brilliant little, murder mysteries, but action, I guess, and like adventure because they travel, countries and, like from Miami to Brazil or from, the east to the west coast or whatever, Yeah, I think Hitchcock's a brilliant director and brilliant storyteller. And like as I'm watching more of his films, you can tell each film is his due to like because he has this common not in every film, but he has this common theme of like false accusation, and then the hero has to try and prove his innocence.
Oh.
The way that it's done in each one. Well, this is his early stuff anyway. Like as it went on, he kind of changed because like if you look at things like Rear Window and Psycho and Vertigo, it's a bit different. But his early mystery films, they kind of have that thread, but like the way they're all told is brilliant.
Well, now it's time for a question of the show. I wish there was some way to make the transition between segments a bit less jarring. I don't know. I feel like it's inevitable. But anyway.
Just in post, just chuck a little guitar riff.
That'd be funny. Okay. That's not a bad idea.
Like a little Seinfeld type thing, just like just to play you out to the commercial and back in,
Huh. I actually don't hate it. I'm going okay, the fact that you've made me consider that for more than 5 seconds is actually, pretty impressive. Okay. Maybe you'll see it. I don't know. Okay. Our question of the show last week, we asked you, what was the first movie you ever saw in the theatre? And I thought that was a good question. I had to do some research, but Luke wrote in and said, I don't think I can remember what the first movie was I saw in the cinema. Well, thanks, Luke. But no, he goes on. The earliest I can remember is going to see Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Great movie to see as your first. Oh, that would have been awesome. I would love to have seen that in the movies.
I regret being only 10 when the last Harry Potter film came out, so I never really got to experience one of the movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I never got to go to the cinemas to watch one.
Really?
I definitely saw Deathly Hallows Parts 1 and 2 in theatres for sure. I enjoyed that. But nothing before it, unfortunately. Lachlan says, I think the first movie I saw in theatres was Wall-E. Not Wall-E, but, Wall-E. I thoroughly enjoy the movie now for the nostalgia and the memories of simpler times. Lockie, that got a bit dark at the end there, honestly. Memories... the memories of simpler times? But, Jane, what was the first movie you saw in the theatre? If you know, what was the closest you can get?
I'm pretty sure it was Cars 2006.
Oh, that's right. You said that. Yeah.
I just have this memory of you know how it is. It's just like 5-year-olds in cinemas, and how you know they just dick around and they don't pay attention because you have the attention span of a goldfish, and it's just 3 seconds, and you just you look around, you plant the seed a bit. Like I'd never take a 5-year-old to a cinema. Like having this knowledge in hindsight, like yeah, like no. But yeah, that was my first experience of a cinema. I'm pretty sure, like just watching Cars.
Hell yeah, nice. Owen Wilson traumatized you, maybe?
Yeah, honestly, I don't even think I paid that much attention to the film apart from when it was racing. Like I don't think I
Sure.
properly experienced that film until like a good like 7 years later when I actually had a decent attention span.
I don't think my parents confirmed this. I don't think I've never had an issue with attention span watching things. Like I've always just put me in front of a screen. I mean, yeah. Makes sense to where I am now, but put me in front of a screen, I'll actually maybe it doesn't make much sense. I get bored in movies actually pretty easily, I feel like. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, what about you, Fitzy?
Well, apparently, my mum used to go to these mum group sessions called crybaby sessions, where you bring your baby or toddler, in this case me, um,
Right.
with other moms and their toddlers and babies, and you like watch a movie together or something. And obviously, I was like 2, so this is all going off her word, but apparently it was Finding Nemo, the first thing.
Hang on, you've opened up a bit of a can of worms here with this personal story. I need to get to the bottom of it a little bit.
Hmm.
This was in the theatre, for sure?
Apparently, like Geelong, yeah.
So,
They
a
have
group
like
of mums...
sessions, like the theater runs like sessions for mums with babies and toddlers and stuff to yank them away from society.
Interesting. Wouldn't that just be like the worst experience of all time?
Yeah,
Like, dude, you can't shut up a 2-year-old.
Yeah, I think
There's
that
like
was
8 of them in the room.
isn't that like part of the point though? I mean, like to like get away from people's like being annoyed by. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
So then they can all cry in the one room and make it impossible to hear for them, but not... Yeah, okay.
mm.
I mean, to be fair, like, I get a bit of that logic. Like, at least, it makes sure that it ruins the experience of all the mums only and not everyone else. Because, of course, mums, their life isn't already entirely ruined by their toddlers.
Wrong, you say?
What was that?
Someone doesn't like kids, I guess.
No, yeah. No, I don't mind kids. No. What makes you say that?
Because you said that their lives are ruined by toddlers.
What? No. I didn't say anything.
No, we'll have
No.
it back.
So, like, I can't really remember that though, but like one of the first movies I do remember, like I have a vague memory that I was in the theaters when I saw it was the Flushed Away.
Oh, dude.
I
Right.
I don't know why,
Right.
but I just know that I saw that movie in the theaters. Yeah.
Huh.
I think I worked out why I love Transformers so much, because it was one of my first cinema experiences. I'm pretty sure, like, after Cars, like, the next thing I saw in the movie was Transformers. So I have a feeling my attachment to the series may be because of my childhood feelings.
Maybe. Michael Bay's incredible directions just always stuck with you.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember the sand scorpion scene very vividly. I don't know why, but it stuck with me.
Is that in... That's not in 2?
No, it's in 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You'd know more than me, that's for sure.
I don't know if I've seen a Transformers movie start to finish.
We're
What are
going
you
to
missing
change that
out?
when we do it for the series.
Oh, Christ. Sit down and watch Age of Extinction, Fitzy, from start to finish. You'll love it.
Oh,
One session.
Oh no, I did
rewatched
see that.
I rewatched it like 2 weeks ago, and like I couldn't even make it through. I genuinely fell asleep during it, and I felt so guilty. I was like, but how can I do this? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I did see that in the theaters.
That was the first movie I think maybe I'd ever seen that made me realise, wow, you can be critical of movies, My little brain hadn't comprehended at that point, like, holy shit, movies can be really bad.
I still stand by it. Like I love the feelings it gives me. Like just early on, like when when you first see the Transformers and stuff. And like I said, I still love Lockdown's theme from it. So I think the film does have its pluses, but like
Oh, sure, yeah.
it's 100% the worst one.
Okay. Well, I feel like Transformers is very much a recurring theme on this show, but that's fine.
I'm very happy.
Mine, yeah. Mine was what was it? Oh yeah, TMNT, the animated one, that reboot that they attempted to do. You know, the 2006 animated one, I think. Yeah. I definitely remembered that. So I was curious, was there one before it? And my mum was relatively confident that I was correct. So yeah, there you go. I wish we'd gotten some, more variation in comments. I would have loved to have seen someone go, my first film I ever saw in the theater was bloody, 8.5 or some shit, or like or Psycho or so, something like that. Even Jaws. I feel like we're just exposed as like toddlers.
Mm.
Yeah, we were kids once, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. I was taking a deep breath to prepare for the outro so I don't stuff it up, I still will though. But thank you everyone for tuning into Cinema Effect this week. We appreciate your time. Fitzy, what are we watching next week?
We're watching a little film called Blade Runner 2049, directed by
Terrible movie.
Denis Villeneuve. And that's on Netflix. Yeah.
Too easy. I'm excited. I wonder where it's going to rank compared to Blade Runner.
Yeah,
It'll be a hard choice.
Go anyway.
I've only seen it once. Haven't seen it since theaters. So I'm excited to watch it again.
Cool.
But yeah. Every pause, I just imagined maybe I'd put a Seinfeld thing there, but of course that wasn't a transition between segments, so I guess that would have just been a pause.
Yep. Play us out, Finny. Don't worry. Just cut that bit. Just cut it. Yeah. I was making a joke, but no one laughed, and it was just awkward and silent, and then it just moved on. But yeah.
No, I liked it a lot. But then I was trying to think of maybe I could make some tune with my mouth, but then that would have been terrible.
Oh yeah, no.
I think you're glad I didn't.
Yeah, that would have been worse.
Oh well, this show just ended in the best way it always does. Pretty standard for us anyway. Thanks guys for talking movies. Appreciate you. I just hear the regret in Fitzy's voice, like, I could have spent 2 hours doing something else. But yeah, all right. We'll see you all next time. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your week, and goodbye.